How do you describe our breakup to others?
Which one? No. I guess holistically, I just say this is still someone that's part of my life and that's my best friend. But that we just had different life goals. And then if anybody asks for something specific, which, well, the only people that ever do that are obviously
Parents.
the ones well, no, not my parents.
They never asked you directly?
No, of course they did, but I'm
Oh.
saying these aren't the people I'm referring to because I view them as along around the way, or like new relationships because new partners always want to know like what happened before.
Yeah, right.
But like it wasn't on bad terms, and that's something that I emphasize. I'm upfront about the fact that I want a family and kids, so that because it's inherently involved in it, I do share that part just so that they know up front. But outside of that, there's nothing negative obviously that could be said from my end. So that's pretty much what I say. But I usually just limit it to like, hey, still like friends, but we just had different goals within the relationship. If for some reason I lost all of my memories, what is the first thing you would tell me about us?
Oh man, that's a big question. I would say that I'm your best friend. Honestly, I take that title. I take that title good. I'll say I'm your best friend and that I love you more than most people I know. I guess the next people only probably be my mom and my dad. And that we can talk for hours and, you can always say anything to me. You've always said anything that you want to. You can always be free to be yourself. I'll say that your family's basically my family. That we grew up with each other and we're pretty much basically one person. And what's yours is mine and mine is yours. So, all right. How do you think our lives would be different if we never met?
Ooh, that is a big question. It's hard to imagine having not known you because of how much knowing you formed who I am. So I would be a different person. I mean, at that point. And I feel like you're one of my most long-term friendships I've ever had. I'm not sure what it would have been instead, but knowing me, I probably just would have been like by myself and just dealing with certain things alone. So yeah, it's hard to imagine because so much of our experiences have defined me. Okay. What are you hesitant to tell me?
A lot of things. I think I always feel like if I say something to you, or especially if it's like about mental health or whatever situation I may be going to, like just mentally, I feel like now it's a little bit easier to talk about it with you, or would be easier to talk about with you. But during like back when we were, together and stuff, I just felt like either you wouldn't understand it or you would take certain things I say the wrong way because I didn't say it the right way. Just not being able to express whatever sexual desires I wanted, or just all of that. I guess a lot of myself in a relationship, I kind of hesitant to really say anything about open up a lot. And I guess that's kind of what was a big problem, especially like you said, for you about commitment and saying, in the words of affirmation, just saying things. I just always afraid of like losing you or you not liking a certain aspect that you would have found out about me or something like that, and just like, having this person that you grew up with just, like abandon you or something like that. Describe the moment you realized I was in love with you. That's a good question.
That's a hard one because I think there were some times, even despite the length of us being together, where I'm not sure if you were or weren't in love with me. I know you have love for me, and that you appreciate me as a close friend, but sometimes, I mean, I feel like your actions would mean that you were in love with me, but I didn't always feel like your words or interests consistently align with that. It's like you were warring with yourself in terms of what you wanted to be for me versus what this relationship presented for you. The in love aspect was always there, but I'm just not sure.
Like, you never felt it at all?
I felt it, but there was just times where I was questioning it because of when I felt like you retracted it. I don't know if that's what your intention was, but with certain things like future stuff or marriage and family, it felt like a reflection of your maybe disinterest holistically by not wanting to pursue that with me. Maybe just what you thought being in love looked like wasn't what your experience was. So I'm not sure if it was dissonant in that way or if just like the feelings just weren't there in that capacity. Because you could meet a whole new person and be like, oh, okay, this is what in love feels like. And I just have appreciation and love Elon for the friendship that we have, but that this wasn't romantic love.
Okay.
Is it my turn? Okay. When did you feel the closest to me?
When did I feel closest to you? You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think maybe not during Savannah, but afterwards, I guess, because we were able to talk through kind of like what we were going through, and I realized we had more in common than I previously thought we did, as far as like with depression and just how we dealt with different, pressures and things like that. It's like it wasn't, even though in the moment I felt like we were close, but like afterwards when we were able to talk about it and just kind of go through what that time was, I think once we got to talk to it, I felt a little bit more closer to you, especially when you opened up about, what you were going through mentally.
I agree with you in that. That was one of the times, but I would actually say maybe after I started going to therapy for my anxiety, because it made me understand your depression differently. Because a lot of times I would think that things you would say were a reflection of something I was doing wrong when really it was not about me at all. And I feel like I made it about myself in moments that I should have been listening more to you. So when we revisited those aspects, even in our friendship, I felt closer to you because I could communicate to you in a way where I felt like for the first time we were actually understanding where each other were coming from.
Right, yeah.
But also we basically grew up together. So it's like who we were at 19 is different than who we were when we were having those conversations again and after we had kind of learned more and grown. So.
Yeah, definitely.
What is your biggest fear about the next stage of our relationship?
Biggest fear? Going down the line and going down life and you getting married with some other person, and I look back and think, what if that was us? Or what, having those feelings or having those regrets, like what if we had just been able to find a way to compromise or find a way to communicate our feelings or what we were feeling towards each other sooner, and having those kind of like, having that pushback, but still having to be around, family and your new boyfriend and stuff like that, and having to deal with that. I guess that's kind of like the biggest fear, because it's like you have to sit around it now. You have to sit with your regrets and be around it constantly. I mean, now it's not really, I guess, really too bad yet, but I feel like once, you do get married and you do start doing the other side of life, I feel like it will get probably a little harder going forward.
Honestly, it would be that you feel that way and you pull back without having a conversation, because like usually that's what you do.
Right.
And you feel that you have to sort of lay on the bomb basically to protect everybody else when like really we could have just thrown it out of the house. So I'd rather work together to disarm it than to have anyone suffer. So I just it's my hope that you just work towards being more open with me and being kind to yourself, or you're not doing something for me because you care, or for anybody else, you know, and that you're listening to how you feel in that way, and that you talk to me about it so that we can still continue that. But the only way this will work is if we have that open and honest communication about feelings, which is something that, ironically, we did not even have when we were together.
Yeah.
But I will have to challenge you to do that in our friendship so that it can last.
Okay.
Anything else you want to ask each other?
I'm good.
You're good. Do you have any other questions?
I guess I have one more question. For you, or
Anything.
Well, if when we broke up last time, before we broke up, if I were to tell you that I was going to propose to you, what would you say?
I'm not
would you
sure.
have said?
At what point?
Both two questions. Like before I left the last place that we were at, when I was saying when I wanted to move in together or move to another place.
Then how would I feel about that, or how do I feel about knowing that now?
How you feel about knowing that now? If you knew that was the intention.
I'm floored, I'm confused, and I'm wondering, like, it just makes me question a lot of things that I thought I knew or understood, because you had sort of said you didn't believe in marriage, and it was partially informed by your perspective about family. So you were saying that if you didn't want to have kids, you didn't see the point in getting married. So I don't know, I guess I would just be at a loss. But if you're asking, would the intended commitment make me feel more secure in the relationship and what I have left, I probably would have stayed longer, but I'm still not sure that that would have meant that we would have lasted. When I look into your eyes, what would you want me to see in them?
I guess care. Care for you, care for just, I guess, rather the freedom for you to be or say anything to me. Comfortability, once you feel comfortable, once you feel like you can say, do anything, and just be free. It's always all I've ever wanted, really.
I do feel that for the most part, but also safety. I think of safety when I think of you.
Do you feel like I trust you?
Yeah, you have to at this point, just because of length of time. But yeah. I mean, there's definitely some time in the beginning where I still felt like you were searching for that. So I can't really pinpoint where I feel like it shifted, but once it was there, I feel like I didn't have to worry about it leaving.
Hey, it's Ashika here from The Skin Deep. Thank you so much for being here and watching this conversation. If you want to have more meaningful conversations like this at home, some of our best questions are in this card game right here. To check it out, go to shop.theskindeep.com. Thank you.